We're going to get into your sports talk. Some things have happened over this past week involving the Cincinnati Bengals and some of the people that we picked up. We picked up a tight end. It's Irv Smith Jr., right? Is his name?
Yeah.
And then Sidney Jones, which is a cornerback. Also, we've heard some stuff about
And Nick
from.
Scott.
Yeah. Well, we already talked about him last week. But
yeah.
we've also heard some stuff about Ezekiel Elliott potentially coming in as a running back, and I think I kind of want to start there. Because literally, what was that, like 30 minutes to an hour ago? Stolze sent me an interview of Katie Blackburn, who is, if you don't know, the GM of the Cincinnati Bengals. She's kind of running the front office type deal. She had like this question that they were asking about Joe Mixon, and like she was saying that he was the guy right now and stuff like that. But even Stolze said before I clicked out of it and like read the message, and I was thinking the same thing. The way she was going about it just did not seem like she had much confidence in the fact that Mixon was going to be the guy next year. So might have said one thing, and the Bengals have been really good at saying a lot of things recently and fucking going against the opposite. So it would be interesting to see what we got. Now, the one thing that I will say is P. Ryan, our backup quarterback or backup running back, already left to Denver. And a lot of people think Zeke might be a good pick because, a lot of people are calling him washed. I think we can get him cheap, and he's a good pass blocker. But if we're to take him on, and we're also his last out of the three that of his wish list, if we're to take him on and get rid of Mixon, then what do we do? Are we looking at fucking draft picks? Are we going for Bijan, or what's going on? What's your guys' thought on the running back situation right now? Let's kick it off with Wallet.
First and foremost, I do not want Zeke.
Bijan ain't gonna be there either.
I do not want Zeke. Bijan's not gonna be there.
I'm cool with Zeke, but Bijan's not going to be there.
No, and neither is Amir Gibbs. Yeah. Okay, but if you look at this draft class for running backs, it is pretty deep. Okay, pretty talented. Yes, same thing with tight ends. So you don't have to Drew freaking Sample this shit, okay, and take Drew Sample in the second freaking round of it. You don't need to do that. I think, in my opinion, they're going to wait. And really, they haven't said anything. They just haven't, you watch an interview with Zach Taylor or Duke Tobin, and it's just like, you can't really get a read on what exactly they're thinking. They're not, saying anything.
It's a good thing.
People are like, well, that doesn't seem very confident, but you don't know. It's like they're not gonna put their cards on the table, right?
Yeah, they play them very close to the chest.
I think they should focus on defense in the first 2 rounds, honestly.
Well, I'm not talking about the draft. I'm talking about what we're doing at the running back thing.
Oh, okay. So running back, I think we should wait till the 4th or 5th round.
4th or 5th round? Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see that because it is such deep class, and people are talking about the guy from Tulane being that guy that's not really up there in the draft stock. Yeah, but he's apparently really good and one of the best running backs in the class. Now that we've signed a tight end with Smith, I just don't see us not attacking for a tight end or a running back in the first round, or just a running back specifically. So I think that might be their focal point, unless they have something else in the books right now that they're trying to get some running back in free agency, or maybe do a trade with Mixon. I don't know. It's kind of just up in the air. Moving a little bit into the tight end that we drafted. He's been hurt a lot. He hasn't really been proven as much. We got him for a steal. Does anybody know what this dude's contract is? Because
it's 1 year. And it's 1 year.
It's 1 year. It's 1 year, but I haven't seen anything financially. And I saw
probably
that
it's literally $2 million.
I saw that it's
2 or 3 mil.
Okay, I saw that it's going to be 24 next March if we decide to keep him or something like that, in a 3-year deal. So I mean, $2 million, that's not bad. He hasn't been tested. It's a prove it to us deal. So that's cool. But I really was hoping that we'd get someone in free agency as a running back and go for a tight end in the draft. Now it's not really looking that way, even though we still might go for a tight end. So
we will. We will for sure.
So Shad, what do you think about the whole tight end that we just picked up?
Like I said, I don't know much about him, but I've heard a lot of good things when he's healthy, kind of like Tyler Eifert-esque. I think he could play that role.
Well, he's built.
I saw a lot of.
He's definitely a receiving tight end.
He's built like a receiver. Yeah, he's only 6'2", 230, 240 or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so I could definitely. I still think they pick somebody up. I think if it's not Mayer in round 1, I think they'll wait till round 2.
Yeah, do you
more of a blocking tight end, like a Darnell Washington or something. Yeah.
Laporta.
Yeah.
That's the guy right there.
Do you think Mayer's even going to be around? Because I'd say right now,
I don't think so.
Yeah, if the Bengals had the opportunity, I'd imagine they'd go after Mayer.
He's been linked to literally nobody besides the Bengals, though.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah.
Mayer.
Well,
Yeah.
you know because you're the Notre Dame guy, fucking. So
Right.
That, I mean, shit.
Like literally what it seems like is it's almost seeming like this isn't what's happening, obviously, but it's almost like they're like, this kid's from Fort Thomas, just let the Bengals have him.
Right.
Like it's so weird how like it doesn't seem like any teams are like talking about this guy.
Well,
right.
I think the big tight end right now that everyone has on their list is Washington because he had that one-handed catch in fucking combine, which is so stupid.
That and the sled.
Yeah, well, the sled was impressive. I will say that.
Right.
That was one of the most more. That was probably.
But if you're 6'7" and you can't push a sled like that, get off the field.
I mean, it doesn't matter, man. He's 6'7" and fucking that big. He's still pushing the sled a lot faster, a lot quicker than fucking most of the guys out there. So, like significantly faster than all the other tight ends. It was impressive.
So,
I will say that. The catch was whatever. Fucking, I don't care. But
right.
I have a question. When was Travis Kelce? What round was he drafted?
Oh shit.
I can find that real quick.
Yeah, true. But yeah, the whole tight end situation. I just don't know about this. About this
overall, so that'd be what?
First pick of the
overall. That's
first pick of the third.
First pick of the
third round, roughly.
Okay, so that's my
Or right at the end of the second, maybe.
Is if you're gonna go for a tight end, my opinion, I would never draft a tight end in the first 2 rounds ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
especially one that's not going to be utilized nearly as much as. I mean, what are we going to draft a first round tight end that's going to have 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? It's not worth a round draft.
I mean,
that's literally what Irv Smith is. Yeah. Like last year, he's had 2. He's been in the league 3 years. He's had 2 years of over 300. Last year, he was sub 200.
Right.
Like he's a more receiving based Hayden Hurst, but he seeks out the contact like Hayden Hurst.
Right.
Like he's just another weapon for Joe. He's not going to do any kind of blocking. Like that's why I kind of think like the Zeke thing is a good idea, just because of Zach's pass blocking grades. Yeah. But if we do that, Mixon has to restructure, and we still have to go get a third guy. In my opinion, we need a versatile guy. We need like some kind of Pacheco type of back where he's in and like what we use Geo as, like just get a shifty guy, just change up the pace.
Good open field runner. Yeah. No.
Is Chris Evans or what's his name, Travion or whatever? Are they? I mean, where are we at with those guys?
We re-signed Travion. I know that.
idea.
But Chris Evans, dude, like I don't know if he's not picking up the playbook.
It's kind of the question that fucking everybody in Cincinnati has been asking him, the running back position. It's the one thing like that and the tight end are just the 2 biggest question marks right now. And like going back to the tight end a little bit, I kind of see what we're doing because Stolz's talked about it a couple times. We're kind of just doing this tight end factory where we're just getting the guy. Burrow's going to get him the ball no matter what. He's a good receiving tight end. If he can catch the ball and as long as that works, it does. My big question mark with him is he's been fucking in the league for 4 years and really only played about 2 of them because he's been hurt so much. Don't really need another injury-prone tight end, especially when we don't have the depth at tight end for that. So that was the one big question mark for me. I get that we got him cheap and then it might work out, but if he's hurt and fucking re-injures himself in week 3, then where are we at? You know what I mean?
Right, but I mean that goes with if you go out and you sign Darren Waller, like he gets hurt, then you burn $36 million. The thing is, like, when you get a guy like Irv Smith, it's like it just opens up a little bit more because now you can go get a guy like Laporta out of Iowa who is good at blocking, but he's a Big Ten guy. Like he's a big dude. What is he? 6'7"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like 6'6".
And we love those Big Ten tight ends. We love those Big Ten Midwest tight ends, man, because they're proven to be able to play in the elements that you're going to see around Cincinnati. So,
but at the same time, I look at this and think like, I honestly, there's a few spots I hope they like pull back and get draft picks for next year because if you look at the free agents we have for next year, I would rather draft high this year on some of the spots that we're going to need for next year because if we're signing Burrow and we're signing Higgins and we're signing Chase, what money are we going to have left over for Trey Hendrickson and Sam
defensive
Hubbard.
That's why I want
every
Logan
other
Wilson extended right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And every other human being on the defense that's going to be a free agent next year. We need to draft right now for depth to cover what potentially. I mean, look at what we lost this year. Even Von Bell. I mean,
are we going to lose? Are we going to lose Eli Apple?
Jesse Bates?
What does the Quincy Jones signing mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right?
The Sidney Jones signing.
That's what I was getting ready to ask, because this cornerback that we just signed or whatever, I've never even heard of this dude.
It's a 1 year deal.
I have no idea. Was it only a 1 year deal? Yeah, and like cornerback, we're kind of
which is all Eli would sign.
Exactly. We're in.
So if they're at money disagreement,
hold up. We're in it. We have the thing about it is though we have these cornerbacks and stuff, and I know they're going to be gone soon, so it is good to prepare for like later seasons. This is kind of another prove it contract or whatever. But like Mike was saying, I think that some of these defensive guys we might want to go for in the draft. So I kind of see what we're doing, getting the offensive guys, the 1 year deals and stuff like that, and being able to draft for later on the defense. It's just I think that this year we have the depth, and I don't know if we necessarily need to go out and get another CB, because I'm considered Apple's been one of the guys on the defense whose contract was up this year that I've been worried about, because I liked Apple. I liked him a lot last year. I want to see him resign, and I just haven't heard much from him. And now that I hear that we've drafted this guy, it kind of makes me think that we might be parting ways with Apple. So
well, yeah, that, and I'm not saying I think we should draft a defensive back. I'm saying that I think in the first 2 rounds.
Well,
right, I know that.
Worth.
I'm saying that I think they should draft a defensive line, whether it's inside or edge, and or linebacker in the first 2 rounds. Look at our backup linebackers. If somebody goes down, we're done.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, Jesse Bates, 54th overall, Von Bell, 61st overall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So the safety, that's what we've said on past episodes is safeties are a lot of safeties and defensive back kind of players are really kind of plug and play, because a lot of those college defenses are kind of pro style.
Right.
So you don't have to go pay $36 million for Jesse Bates when he's turning 30. You don't have to do it.
That's why we took Dax Hill. But we don't know what Dax Hill is this upcoming.
Well, that's why you go get Nick Scott, because you also lose Von Bell.
Correct.
But exactly. You need a mentor.
No, I think our defensive backs.
Because I think Nick Scott's going to stay for a while.
We could look at somebody in like the 5th or 6th round for a defensive back, whatever. But I still think we got to look at what's going to happen next year with the free agents that we have. If we're signing these top guys, Burrow, Chase Higgins, Logan Wilson, whatever, this year we're run out of funds unless we're going to sell the whole city to somebody.
I don't think outside of offensive line we're going to buy anything on the offense. I think we're going to be drafting a lot of running backs. We're going to be drafting a lot of tight end pieces, a lot of slot receivers, and we're going to be heavy on defense.
Right. I think we should go heavy on defense early, because what you just mentioned is especially tight end and running back have deeper classes, so you can get a good running back or a good tight end later on in the draft.
Just give me a 2 tight end set for Joey. Please give me a 2 tight end set.
It's not.
And a fucking new right tackle.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, that's like going back to the draft. Like a part of me keeps thinking
they're going after Dewan.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's a bad thing, especially with what we've seen with Jonah Williams and some of the stuff that's come out this week. I saw a couple things about Jonah Williams.
He's being a bitch.
Apparently the most we've gotten.
He ain't eating $12 million.
Hold up. Apparently the most that we've got from him is a 5th round pick. That's the most that they've traded, and it's kind of the word around the city and some of the groups that we're in is that he's just not going to be happy, and we're not going to get much production out of him. So it might make sense to go out and get a fucking right tackle in the draft. Even though we've talked about how we don't want to see that from an offensive lineman, at this point it might just be one of those things that we kind of got to do. So, and then that kind of looks like what they're doing too, getting those offensive guys out of the way that we're picking up at free agencies with these 1 year deals. So, or those spots that we need at least. So we'll see what happens.
I'd rather be weaker at right tackle than left tackle, though, for sure.
We got that booked.
Right.
Booked.
No doubt.
Other than that, I think our line's going to be okay.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to the Bengals always not showing their hand at all. Nobody had Orlando Brown to the Bengals.
No.
Right.
No.
Every single said he was going to Chicago.
And we still might see some shit come out here fucking in the next couple days with a trade or something that is another big name thing. And with Mixon, we're talking about Mixon before, I know fucking it might be out of hands at this point, but Eckler's still on the board, right? and fucking we've heard about him being interested in coming here. So I don't know.
He's just expensive.
He'd be expensive, and we don't know where Lael Collins is in his recovery either.
I'm hearing he might not be ready even by the beginning of the season. He's probably going to be.
But
like
I mean,
and besides that, Lael has been hurt for fucking a couple years now. He's very injury prone. I'm not really fucking all too gung ho on even putting him back in the lineup, to be honest with you. So.
But they're also talking about Jackson Carman maybe playing that right tackle spot.
I saw that too.
I mean, he proved that he could come out and play other positions in the playoffs this year. He had some good games. He's a really good run blocker. So, yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know.
They're so quiet.
So, I mean, we're reaching about 30 minutes on the full podcast, about 15 minutes on this. Does anyone have any closing comments about the Bengals that they'd like to put out there?
Just one little trade fantasy that I came up with in my head involving Jonah Williams and Jeffrey Simmons, the interior defensive lineman from the Titans. He is a 10.75 cap hit. He's a top 3 interior defensive lineman in the league, 25 years old. Give him, and they just lost Taylor Lewan. They just cut him. Give them Jonah and a 3rd-round pick. Give us an interior defensive lineman to help out DJ Reader.
I've actually been hearing about that trade with the Titans because the Titans are like just restructuring so much now. So yeah, I don't know. Shad, any closing comments you got?
I just hope if we draft a lineman, we draft him in his position and not like draft a tackle and trying to move him to guard, or draft a guard and trying to move him to tackle or some shit like
or
that.
Pay
that
a right tackle
$80
million to play left tackle.
Yeah, but right now the big one, if he's still on the board, would be that DeJuan guy from Ohio State, and he's I think that by far the top right tackle, and that's what we need. So
yeah,
I mean,
I just know. We drafted Price to play guard, and that didn't work out. We drafted Carman to play tackle when he was a guard, and that didn't work out.
The other thing, too, though, that's weird, like the Bengals and offensive linemen, like when you listen to other GMs talk about Jonah Williams, they all say that he's a big dude with little man arms, and he plays like it. Like GMs around the league don't like Jonah. That's why he was projected a 3rd or 4th round, and you only end up getting a 5th for him. Yeah. And people were saying the same thing. Nobody wanted Billy Price. Nobody.
No.
Like people immediately were like, there's a lot of questions about this Billy Price guy.
Our 1st-round offensive line picks have been terrible.
Yeah. All right. Any closing comments with you, Wallet?
I really don't want to see him draft that Anton Harrison. Too. I don't want to see him draft Anton Harrison. I think that's a reach. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and he's kind of he's an all-around offensive lineman, and I think you're right, Chad. If we're going to do O-line, we need to draft someone specific to that position. Yep. I agree.
All right, cool. Well, with that being said, this has been episode 11 of the Sports Podcast. Y'all have a fucking great night, great life. Peace.
Peace. Love you guys. I'm getting off.